What's going on?
How many other dogs are inside?
Also, how slack are the guy's trousers trying to get the car? Trying to get the dog out. He's just producing dogs from under his jumper. Did he get that from under his jumper?
If this ends up being over 10, then this is an incredible magic trick. I'm going to look for that U2 album.
It's called Songs of Innocence, by the way. I think that's what it's called. Have you still got it?
Well, I'll find out because... Yes, I bloody have.
There you
Look, my library, and there it is.
Right, The Miracle of Joey Ramone.
Oh, I remember that one. Because it's the first track.
That was the one they used in the... I'm sure that was the one they used in the advert.
What is this sleeve? How do I look at the sleeve?
What year was it?
It looks like he's sucking it off. What's going on here?
2014. 2014.
2014. I'm downloading that fucker. I'm going to listen to it on the way home.
I told you though, because I found it. I only listened to it last night. I've had it on my phone since 2014. I bet there's a...
Everyone has.
Boris Johnson. Have you noticed? I mean, there's a lot to talk about. But have you noticed how Boris owns quite a lot of automotive chod? Have you noticed? It's been associated with some fairly shit cars.
Doesn't he have a Previa?
He's got at least one Previa about his person. He's got a Mark 1 Ford Focus, or he's been tooling around in a Mark 1 Ford Focus.
Really?
Yeah, which is your staple diet of a sort of low-income family. Which is no bad thing, because I think it's a great car. But a Prime Minister of the country driving around in one that's worth no more than 400 quid. It's quite interesting. I think he had a Citroen AX.
Did he?
There's a when he famously made cups of tea for all the paparazzi outside his house.
That's right. There was an AX.
There was a Citroen AX on the drive.
But was that his house?
Well, was it just a house he turned up at and like did a bit of a Julian Assange and went, I'm just staying here for a while.
Yeah. Playing asylum in your house. That was Bono's house. It's been installed with a twat that he doesn't want. Look at that bloke. The classic chauffeur garb.
Oh yeah.
The waistcoat. Waistcoat makes it smarter without having to wear a jacket while you're driving.
I always imagined Julian Assange if he had a lot of cars and then the scenario happened where he was living in the embassy. He was constantly having to email people, do us a favour, could you, the keys are placed so and so. I've got a trickle charger, second shelf in the garage. If you can rig it up to the charger just to keep it, you know. If you can do that for me, it's great. Also, there'll be a load of tax reminders.
Yeah, could you just keep on top of that? Why do you have Britain's largest collection of Hillman imps, you weirdo?
Small airports.
How small?
I really like small airports because you can navigate them quickly, especially if you're running late.
Yes. London City.
Yep.
Good small airport.
Yeah, Birmingham East Midlands.
Never been there.
It's good. However...
Southend, ever been there?
No.
Nor have I, but apparently it's great.
I've never been... No.
You could pretty much, you have to walk past the plane to go through security kind of place. You go, ooh. So I've been told. And you can fly to some places that you might want to go to, like
You
France.
might want to go to.
But you know what I mean? Because some small airports, you go, where can you fly to? You can only ever fly to Leeds.
Yeah,
so it's not really much use to me, to be honest. But
yeah. The thing about small airports, and I've noticed this more than one occasion, way too much super dry clothing being worn by people. And it is exclusively a small airport. Also, way too much sunburn, regardless of the weather.
That's airports, though, isn't it?
No.
You think it's small airports.
What's that noise?
Something in this car keeps doing something. And
Over
do you know
here.
what it sounds like? It sounds like on VW Group cars when they reposition their own wipers.
I'm watching the wipers.
But why? The car is off.
It is,
It's repositioning its own wipers.
but it's chattering them. Watch.
It's twitching.
Like a dying or dead thing that still has nerves.
Oh my god.
I heard it.
Have we broken that wiper?
That was really nice chocolate.
I've got so much chocolate envy, it's ridiculous. Because I bought raspberries the car will not turn off now. Oh, smell it as well, you bastard. I'll have
so
to go
rich.
and get some chocolate. It won't turn off. What if I do this? Nope.
What, the car won't turn
The
off?
car won't turn off.
I like the fact
Unless
that
it's just
although
gonna
it's
shut
blatantly
down. Well, it says
BMW
off,
iDrive.
though. Yeah, they put a picture of a Supra there. So it's
Yeah,
okay.
and there's no reference to BMW. I've gone through the menus and...
They wouldn't.
Well, it might be. That should have been Supra. That should have been more Japanesey. And so should that.
Money though, isn't it? Will cost money.
But you've got to spend money in the right places.
Well, they spend.
Have you never watched Grand Designs? You know, you can have an expensive front door, but you can have an IKEA kitchen because it's okay. You can have cheap carpets, but you can have one expensive chair in the middle of the room that's the focal point. Expensive shower head, cheap basin, or something. What?
I'm not sure that's right.
Well,
Mind you, basins are a bit of a. I mean, you know, how much complexity do you need from a basin? That's one thing I don't like. I don't like overly complicated basins because they're often worse. They're functionally worse.
I don't like it when the tap has been positioned too far away, so that you have to actually force your hands up against the back of the basin in order to wash your hand, because they haven't measured the head of the tap in relation to the edge of the wash basin. That's an interesting thing to talk about, isn't it?
We've just had our bathroom redone.
I've seen it.
You have. You were the inaugural guest in our new bathroom.
I've brushed my teeth in it. I've showered.
I didn't give you permission to
I've
do
done
any
all
of
of
those
it.
things.
I've done all of it. I've been naked in it.
What?
Yeah.
That's so disrespectful.
Not a stitch on.
Our builder is. I did that. So. Yeah, our builder is a guy we've used for ages on various bits and pieces, and there's a lot to recommend him, but he's not necessarily a detail merchant. He needs to be reminded sometimes to do details. I don't know if you noticed the tap in that new bathroom.
Was it a mixer?
Yeah, it's a mixer, and you lift. It's one of those ones that's got a handle on it, and you lift it up to turn it on, and then it's side to
And
side
then it's
to
temperature. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So obviously, direct straight ahead should be even mix, and
Yeah.
then or one way cold or other way hot.
What's he done?
Right, if it's like that,
I actually can't remember.
straight on like that should be even mix. It's not. That's pretty much. It only moves about that much that way to go colder. To get full hot, you have to go right around here like that.
At one point out the
Puts
window.
it- yeah, basically, so it almost touches the windowsill. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's perfectly livable with, but at the same time, it just annoys me
It's
that
annoying.
he's been so sloppy.
Yeah.
In the same way that when he did he did the other bathroom, he did it at the same time as something else. He did the downstairs loo, which had flat tiles in it.
Yeah.
And so it had beveled tiles. The upstairs one had flat tiles, and somehow upstairs, all flat tiles, just down behind the door, there's one beveled tile.
Oh no, is there?
It's almost like he's done it deliberately, just a little sort of.
Have you
cheeky-
heard words?
No, not about that, because that one did amuse me because it's not bad. But he's made some other ones. He put the loo roll holder on upside down and stuff.
But you only notice stuff like that when you stared at it a while.
Yeah, I was going, that doesn't look right. What's wrong with it? Oh yeah, the bracket is pointing upwards behind rather than yeah.
See, one
it's
thing
the detail.
you know when you're sitting on the toilet,
Yes.
doing what needs to be done.
Yeah.
When you stare at something for too long, you see patterns. So, like, if you were to stare at that carbon fibre for too long, you might see a pattern or an image. I remember this from as a kid. I'd sit on the toilet. My parents' bathroom was cork tile flooring, and if you looked at the cork tile, obviously it's not all symmetrical because it's cork, and you'd see things. And I'd make mental notes of, like, when you sat on the toilet, down there was what looked like the face of an ogre.
Oh right.
And then
yeah.
and over there looks like an olive tree, and over there is like a cloud formation. That was my and when my dad started decorating the bathroom, which took about 10 years. Right in front of the mirror where you wash and shave and whatever, there's a big circular mirror, and he'd ripped off the lower tiles, the splashback tiles, because he was going to put new tiles on. But he left it bare for about a year, and where all the adhesive had come off, it had left these mad patterns. But the mad patterns, I kid you not, look like the 4 members of the Beatles. I've got a photo of it somewhere because I couldn't believe it. I told people and they're like, "You're just bullshitting." I said, "I'm going to take a picture
I
of it."
have to see this photo.
But it's now what era would it be? Late 60s hippie era, because there's lots of long tashes and lots of long hair.
Yeah, that's still an acceptable.
It's
look
Sergeant
to
Pepper
find
era. Is
the
that Sergeant
Beatles in
Pepper?
your
It's
tile adhesive.
a man. He's finished the bathroom now for quite some time, so that moment is gone. But I do have a photo to prove it. And you go, that's John, and that's Paul,
Well,
and that could be Ringo if you squint.
but when would the tiles have been put up? What if it was in the late 60s?
No, house didn't exist. The house was made the same year that I was made.
Oh.
Because we moved in, we bought it off plan, and then I was born, and we moved in when I was just an absolute tadpole.
Okay.
So that house is as old as I am. So that house is what, probably a bit more, half a year older than me. So 41, something like that.
It's almost spooky to think that
Isn't it?
somebody lovingly rendered the Beatles in tile adhesive, hidden away just
Behind a splashback.
1 year before John Lennon lost his life.
Oh yeah, yeah. Pre-Lennon death.
Think on.